Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to This Week in Marketplace. I'm your host, Eddie from Brickrod Garage, and man, have I found some fun ones for you today. Starting out with the 1986 Pontiac Fiero. And I know what you're thinking, Eddie, a Pontiac Fiero is nothing to write home about. You're absolutely right. But this one was featured in an episode of Roadkill. It was the episode of Roadkill where they did Power Tour 2 summers ago, and every day they traded a vehicle. And they started out with, I believe, a Jeep J10 with no bed. And every day they found a random person and said, hey, trade your ride for ride. And the idea was for them to just really trade up for a cool viewer. And the last viewer got to keep his car and the car, I think, if I remember right. But this Fiero is pretty awesome. It is a 1986 Pontiac Fiero. It's off-road, so it's kind of lifted up. It's got this like apocalyptic kind of feel to it, which is pretty cool. And it's only $3,500. And that's what I like about this thing. For $3,500, you can have yourself something that'd be kind of fun. It'd be a really cool conversation piece and get lots of attention. Now, this guy does have a YouTube channel. I think it's Street Rat Garage. So if you want to check that out, I guess he's got a full walk around video. I like this car because it's featured on Roadkill, and I think it's got a lot of potential. It's got this cool army green to it, or military green, with the roof rack and the roof lights. I think it's even got a snorkel on it. So for $3,500, I think you could have a lot of fun with this car. Is it going to win any awards or car shows? Probably not. But are you going to have fun in it? Most likely, because you can say you have a mid-engine lifted car. That's how I would pitch that to my friends. Got a mid-engine lifted car that was featured on Roadkill. Up next, we have a 2015 Ram Super Stretch. This thing is wild. The Drive did an article back a year or so ago that I remember seeing it, and then I found it here on Marketplace, which I thought was kind of cool. It started life out as a cab and chassis, 4,500 Ram. So basic Ram, it's even a manual, which you can't even get a manual anymore. Now in the description, there is one fatal flaw in why it is priced the way it is. Yeah, it has an engine knock in a Cummins. Not sure what happened there, but that's pretty crazy. Actually, I tagged the owner over on Instagram, and he was like, man, I would love to keep it if I can. It's a lot of fun. And he actually commented on some of the things that people had questions about. Like in this one picture here, you can see that it looks like it still has 2 wheel wells. And some people are like, oh man, he went cheap on it, or he didn't do all the fabrication. He's like, no, actually I had a good reason for that. I wanted to be able to keep a toolbox in there, and the only way I can keep a toolbox from moving is to keep the wheel wells in there. I remember reading the article The Drive did about this truck and thought it was really cool, and it's just awesome. It reminds me of, I think it was Chevy made back in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. It was a truck called the Longfoot. It was a C10 with this massive bed, and that's what reminds me of. I love the fabrication on this. I think it's awesome. The guy's like, you know what, I have a cab and chassis. It's pretty boring. And how to make it a little more interesting, I'm going to put a bed on there and custom make one. So is $20,000 a lot? No, not really. Even with the engine problems, I don't think this is a horrible deal. The engine problem is a little concerning, but for a 4,500 Ram cab and chassis with the 16-foot long bed, I think it's got a lot of potential. Up next, we have this John Deere 6-wheeled lawn tractor. Now, in the description, it says it's just listed for parts, but when I found it, it was only $300. I don't know what's left of it now, but I think this thing would be so much fun. This thing's got potential. And if you get it for the right price, even for parts, if you want to use it for your mower or your project, I think you could have a lot of fun with this thing. And the back wheels are locked in, so it is a 4-wheel drive tractor in the rear. It's got this cool little flatbed on there. And look at the seat. It's got like this crazy looking lazy boy seat. This thing, I always want to know what I should do with my Yardman eventually, but I really think I'm going to go with the racing mower thing. But this, one of those, you know what, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, how cool would this be to drive around your neighborhood? Like, what is that? Yes, that is my 6-wheel John Deere. And no, there's not another one like it because I made it. This one's just kind of a fun one. Is it crazy? No, but it makes you think, hey, I could do this with my old mower. That's what I like about it. It's time for Creator Spotlight, the part of the show where I highlight a different creator that you may not have heard of every week in the show. And this week, I've got my friend Mark from Built Shoulda Bought a Garage.
Hey everybody, Mark Frisbee with Built Shoulda Bought Garage, and hey, look, there's a truck, there's a Volkswagen. There is, what is that? That monstrosity is the Blavette. So tune into the channel to check out what that's all about. And yeah, I look awful because I just got off work. Yeah, okay. So, oh, and here's our spacious workshop. Okay, bye.
Mark is one of my good friends. If you guys don't know, he is the guy that I'm constantly harassing every time I go to Buc-ee's. Eddie and I make a video checking on him, and recently I actually sent him a whole entire package full of Buc-ee's stuff. So Mark is just a great friend. If you guys are not following him, you need to be following him and his stepdaughter's build. You can follow Mark on Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube. Up next, we have this wild 2000 custom S10. Now, this is literally the most expensive S10 I have ever seen, with the world's smallest description. Last week I touched on pictures. Well, pictures are important, but so is the description, especially if you're going to ask $59,000 for an S10. This is literally the description. Custom built S10 with over 2,500 hours work. All polished Corvette suspension, a real head turner. That's legitimately the only description it has. Now, this thing is crazy. It looks like a roadster. I mean, if you look at these pictures, it's crazy. I mean, this guy really liked red, like really, really liked red. The truck is red, the seats are red, and the rest of the interior is red. It's got like this 50s roadster vibe to it, and it's cool. I just wish there's a little more information on it, on why it's $60,000. Sorry, $59,000 for this truck. Because it's one of those things that, yes, you put a lot of work into it, but at the end of the day, it is an S10. Do I like it? I like red, but not that much red. I would have done some black inserts in the interior or something, break it up. But here's my dilemma with this truck. Not that it's not, wow. It reminds me of this. A Factory 535 hot rod truck kit that you can get. Now, without drivetrain, you can get this kit for $20,990. That's $30,000 less than this truck. Yes, you still need a drivetrain, and you'll probably be well over that by the time you're done. If I had a choice between the S10 and this, I personally would pick the Factory 5. That's the hard part when you customize a car. Most of the time, anybody that's renting or building on a car knows you're probably not going to get your money's worth out of it. Either you're building it for you and to enjoy. I don't know what the whole story is, but regardless, this truck is pretty cool. I just don't know if it is almost $60,000 cool. Up next, we have this K10 boat. Yes, you heard me right. It is a K10 boat for $1,000. I love this thing. It's simple, it's straightforward. It runs and drives, does not have brakes. Tires will hold air for about an hour, and unfortunately doesn't float. I love this. These are the kind of builds that get me really excited. I'm like, this would be so much fun. I would put a lift kit on. I would obviously get some new wheels and tires, get it running right, get the drivetrain sorted out. And then one of two things. Either tow a boat to the lake and watch the look of confusion as you back your boat down the boat ramp while being pulled by a boat, or get a car trailer and put a truck on the back. So I'm all about, I want to eventually do some of those kind of reaction videos. I love watching them, and I think this would be the perfect candidate for $1,000. This would be an absolute blast to do that with. Imagine driving down the road, it's like, that's a boat pulling a truck. Huh. I think it'd be fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I might have saved the best one of the week for last. Check this out. A 1998 Chevy with a Kenworth body on it. Now, yes, this has another staggering price tag of $55,000. But let's talk about this. It is built on a 1-ton Chevy chassis, It's got a freshly built 6BT Cummins in there, backed with an Allison transmission. It's putting out somewhere around 355 horsepower from the description. This thing is awesome. I love these mini big rigs. I think this thing would be a lot of fun. I only have one critique about this. The Dodge bed has got to go. It doesn't look right. And I know, and I've heard people in the comments on some of the different platforms that, hey, it could have been for insurance reasons or whatever, why you put the bed on. It was owned by a diesel mechanic, or he owned a diesel shop, so he could have been using this literally for a parts runner. To me, put like a Western hauler bed on there and paint it to match, so that way it's got the flatbed look, but you still have some toolboxes and some utility. And I think this thing would make an awesome toy hauler. I mean, this thing is beautiful. The truck looks great. The interior is amazing. And you've got a Cummins 6BT in there. So it is literally got the right drivetrain and the Alcoa wheel. Yes, it's $55,000. And that is a lot of money. But man, I still want it. This would be a blast. This would make one killer toy hauler. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, let's talk about the upcoming events coming up really soon, starting with Sick Week. We talked about it last week, but we're still going to keep talking about it because there was a huge announcement about Sick Week. For those who don't know, it's a drag and drive event from January 28th to February 2nd. It starts at Orlando Speed World, and then it goes to Braderton Motorsports Park. It goes to Gainesville Raceway, to Georgia Motorsports Park, and then ends back at Orlando Speed World. This is the cool part. Cletus just announced that if you are a Freedom Plus member, and if you're not, and this is not a plug, I am not sponsored by any of these guys, just a fan, not sponsored by any of these guys, just another car guy letting you know that if you're not subscribed to Freedom Plus and you love Sick Week, then this might be the time to do it. Because Cletus announced at the end of last year that more was coming to Freedom Plus. Why they changed the name to Freedom Plus? It was just the Cleater crew. And this is the first event they've added. They are going to be doing daily coverage of Sick Week. I think they even said they're going to be doing videos from checkpoints, all sorts of things. And it is going to be absolutely amazing. This is an event that I hope that I get to do in the next year or so. They finally announced the dates for Hot Rod Power Tour 2024, the 30th anniversary. It is June 10th through the 14th. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for this. They've got a pretty good lineup for Power Tour that I'm really excited about. Starting out with day one, you're at Beach Bend Raceway Park in Bowling Green, Kentucky. At day two, you're Nashville Super Speedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. Day three, we're heading back to Kentucky at L&N Federal Credit Union Stadium in Louisville, Kentucky. On day four, you're at the National Trail Raceway in Hebron, Ohio. And then to end Power Tour, we're going to Indy. Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park in Indy. Guys, I am so excited. For those of you guys who don't know, my entire family is going on Power Tour. Eddie turns 13 in July, and we thought this would be a really fun way to celebrate his 13th birthday by going on Power Tour. And those of you thinking, oh man, I don't have a hot rod to go on Hot Rod Power Tour. You need to watch Vice Grip Garage's coverage from Power Tour last year because he talks about this. And going to Power Tour for the one day I got to go last year, it was so amazing. My wife were like, we're doing this as a family. And we made the decision to, as of right now things could change. This is only January, but as of right now, we were taking my wife's minivan. Why? Because we can, and there's 5 of us, and we want everybody to be comfortable. And that's the great thing about Power Tour. Because if you look at all the magazine pictures, it shows all these hot rods and cool roadsters and lifted trucks and Jeeps and all these things like, I got a minivan. No, hop in your minivan, hop in your car. It doesn't matter what you have. It's about getting out with your friends and making memories on the back roads. And that's what I cannot wait to hang out with my friends on Power Tour. I am so excited. And yes, we're going to be driving a 2019 Chrysler Pacifica minivan, but we'll be comfortable. I said, things could change and maybe we'll get something else to drive. But as of right now, we're driving a minivan and I don't care because I get to go on Power Tour this year with my family and hang out with my friends and hopefully see some of you guys there and meet some of you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of This Week in Marketplace. If you know of any upcoming events or if you have found any marketplace finds that you'd like to show me, you guys can always send it over to me at any of my socials. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter/X, whatever it is, TikTok, and here on YouTube. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite vehicle was that I found this week. And as always, happy hunting, everybody. Ladies, ladies, this will be great for the blooper reel at the end. My voice decided to hit puberty right there. That went really high. All right, let's try this again. But with my newscaster voice. Are you all happy? Oh boy, the cat's definitely going to make for some fun bloopers. The blooper reel is going to be real on this one. Have cats, they said. My daughter broke a window pane. I don't think you guys can see it, but now the cats go in and out like a doggy door. Are you coming in? Vader, let's go. Come. Come. Now, yeah, this video is going to be... As I remember reading this article that the Drive did, then I thought it was pretty cool. It's an event that I hope... Cats.